Good evening, everybody. This is Kay Aubrey Shemaine. I'm the owner and director of Grand Adventures Ranch, a holistic equine wellness center in Sonoyta, Arizona. This is our weekly Always Shine Your Light webinar, and where we cover topics having to do with photopuncture and light therapy education. Tonight, we're going to talk about why it's not all in the wrist, secrets to better scanning. Now, photopuncture is a two-part process. We scan the horse to find energy imbalances in the body, and then we use LED lights to bring those imbalances back into balance. And scanning is the secret, right? That tells us exactly where we're going when we're treating a horse. But it's not as easy as just waving a magic wand. We actually have to go over all parts of the horse. And there's some tips and tricks that help things to get better results. So first, we start with a dry, clean horse. That's key. If you're working on other people's horses, it's a really good idea to set expectations, and especially the first few times that you're working with them, let them know that you need that horse to be clean and dry when you arrive, or you're going to charge them for cleaning time, unless they're a really good customer. The next thing is you want a good wet sponge for grounding. You also want to be pretty well hydrated, but you do not want to use a sponge that's too dried out. We want the horse to be out of direct sunlight so they're not getting hot. When you're scanning with the wand, you want the tines of the wand to be perpendicular to the body. You're going to scan with the hair, the way the hair flows over the body, instead of just whatever way you think would be most convenient for your hand to go. You're going to use steady, light pressure. Long, steady strokes are best. And don't pull the skin with the wand. So we're going to go into those just a little bit more in depth. First of all, let's start with a clean, dry horse, and not the guys we see here in this pasture. This is our nightmare. Believe it or not, I've shown up for a session to have horses look like this. Wet spots cause the scanner to alert. All right, the sound that we're looking for when the scanner is scanning the horse is a high-pitched tone, and if it hits a wet spot, whether it's from sweat, whether it's because you accidentally already put the sponge there, whether the horse was just cleaned and didn't get a chance to dry, the scanner will start screaming, okay? And dirt, debris, tangled hair, the comb catches in those, and we get false noise. We get anything from chirps and chatter to all the way up to loud alerts, because it has gotten caught, it pulls the skin, and so we get a lot of false information. Now, when we're grounding, to use the system, we have to create a circuit between the horse's body and ourselves. And the way we do that is we use a wet sponge that helps to make that electrical circuit go through. Okay. Now I'm really fussy. I'm always pushing people to have as wet a sponge as they can, to where it's just not so wet that it drips. So if they squeeze it, it's not pouring down the horse. But that helps to get a much better connection. The system comes with little bitty tiny sponges. We've discovered we love having a great big thick sponge that has a Velcro strap through it you can stick your fingers through. It's great. The horse shies, it moves away, your sponge doesn't fall on the ground. It only took me about 18 years till my assistant Karen came up with a better way for me to look and go, why didn't I think of that? Because we were always rinsing off dirty sponges. Keep the horse out of the direct sun. Sometimes you go get called out to a ranch and there's no way around it. You'll try to get in the shade of a tree, whatever. But the best is to be indoors, because horse's skin is designed to pull the heat of the sun in and to store it. And so they really heat up rapidly in the sun, and the scanner just picks that heat up as inflamed tissue or inflammation. So stay out of the sun when you're scanning if at all possible. Always scan with the way the hair flows. When you scan against it, you irritate the heck out of the horse. and B, you get a whole lot of alert noises that's just chatter. It's just false noise. So it's a good idea to have enough light where you are to be able to see. Of course, if the coat is so slick that you can't tell, you're probably not going to have a problem. You can scan with either hand. Usually when I'm on the horse's left side, I have the sponge in my left hand and I'm scanning with my right. And when I go to the other side, I do the opposite, because I usually keep the sponge where I have already scanned. And since I start at the head and work back, that lets me keep the sponge out of my way. But just figure out a pattern that works well with you. There's not a wrong way to do it. Short, jerky strokes, however, A, it's going to take you a lot longer to scan the horse. And B, you have more pressure changes at the beginning and the end of a stroke, and those pressure changes can cause false noise alerts. So you want nice, long, steady, light strokes are the easiest way to get done quickly and get the most accurate readings on your alerts. If possible, and sometimes something happens that this doesn't work out as practical, but you want to set up a pattern and always follow the same path around each horse. Now, what I do for myself is we always scan the head and poll first. Lots of people teach just throw the poll cap on. They don't even scan the head. But I find so much information about TMJ problems, chiropractic imbalances at the poll, tooth problems. I always try to scan the jaw, the TMJ notch, and behind the ears. So start with the head and poll. Then if you have a happy hat or poll cap, put it on. Scan the left side of the body. And as you drop down, you can then scan the side of the left legs facing you, and then the side of the right legs that are facing you, the inside. Then I get up and I finish scanning the left hindquarters. I go around to the front of the horse. I start and I do the same thing, working from the head back on the right. Excuse me, from the neck back, because I will have already scanned the head. When you do that, when you separate the horse into zones and you have a pattern in your head and you always stick with it, you're much less likely to miss areas. All right. And the more you scan, the more you become familiar with equine energy points and meridians, the more you'll know what areas are most important to scan. But when you're first starting, don't skip anything. Oh, there's a go with the hair. That was a picture of one of our new students, new CPT. She's a graduate, scanning on a very good-sized horse last week. Now, be careful going over the bumps. When the horse changes shape, you're not on a nice even spot. It's important to go slowly, evenly, and try to have even pressure. Here we have MJ, who's on the call with us, scanning a horse. And she's working up over the shoulders. And it's really important. Well, she's getting lots of points on this horse, so we're breaking it up a little bit. But you want to pay attention to the fact that you're going over ridges. You are changing shape. Here you may have to do a slightly smaller, slower stroke. But keeping the wand balanced, keeping the pressure light, will get you accurate readings as opposed to lots of alert noise. So, is it a real alert? When you're scanning, a lot of times, especially when you're going over lumps and bumps, you'll bring your scanner across and you'll hear a tone, but the next time you go over that, you don't find it. Or maybe you've been scanning an area, you went over it, and 3 out of 5 times you thought you heard something, but you weren't sure. I stop and I literally hold the tines of the wand gently against the skin where I think I heard the tone. Maybe I'll search around for it and see if I get a steady alert. If there really is an energy imbalance there, just holding the wand means it'll make a good, clear, loud tone. And if you have 2 or 3 points in the area, you want to know which one is the most out of balance, hold it on each one of them and see which one is the loudest, highest pitch tone, and that will be the one most out of balance. Usually that is the specific equine energy point. Now, scanning the legs. There's a lot of different ways of scanning the legs. Some people ignore it. They don't even scan below the knee. But some of the most important energy points, the master points that control pain and function through the whole body, are located between the knee or hock and the cornet band. Okay? So if you're scanning in there and you're in tight areas like the splint groove, you can use the single tine of the scanning wand that's on the end to get in between the heel bulbs, to get down into the groove. You can hold it still, you can slide it, that'll work. Now, you can bend down on your knees and pull the wand down just like you do through the rest of the body. Or maybe you're getting up there like I am and you don't feel like bending over or bending down, then you can bend over and push the wand down. That takes a little more practice on keeping steady pressure, but that way you don't have to get up and down as much from your knees. And remember, scanning is also therapeutic. I know we've had a whole other call on this one, but I just wanted to show off this little video. This is one of our graduates, Mary Sloka, up in Denver. We were at the Rocky Mountain Horse Expo, and I was just telling the audience about how scanning could be therapy. And this little mare, she's a barrel racing horse, her left ribs were in spasm, and her right hip was down and forward. She was very much out of balance at the hips. So Mary here is just getting started on the left side, scanning her, and the mare starts to get very agitated. She pushes her out of the way. Mary's trying to be very professional and keep scanning. The mare drops into downward dog, releases all the spasms in her ribs, kicks out that back leg. Oh, it cut short. I'm sorry. She kicks out the back legs and puts her hips in as well. I guess I'll have to fix that. So the scanning process is wonderful for the horse. It's very relaxing, and it does not have to take you a lot of time. If you practice, by the time you've done 10 horses, you'll be good at holding the wand. By the time you've done 50 horses, you'll be really good at being able to scan and be done in half an hour, 40 minutes. Okay? So I'm going to open this up, take it off mute, and it's now open for questions. Anybody got comments or questions about what they just saw?
So you can detect the muscles that are weak there, Kay, can you?
You can. Well, the scanner picks up a few different things. It picks up heat and inflammation. It picks up it picks up any kind of inflammation of the tissue. All right. The scanner itself puts out a microcurrent, and it reads what is reflected back to it from the tissue under the skin. And so it's going to pick up any heat or cold areas. So something that's not getting enough blood supply, it'll pick up anything that's swollen, inflamed, that sort of thing. And then the reason I call it photopuncture is it is excellent at picking up acupuncture points, all right, or bottom corpuscles that are out of balance from the tissue around them. So either their energy is blocked and stagnant, or it's too hot.
Okay.
All right.
So can that be used on humans too?
You bet. You bet. Scanning people is fascinating. It's a lot of fun.
I mean, we have a lot of blood stagnation.
Oh, you bet.
Our bodies, as we get older, we get more, as you know.
Well, the scanner works. In fact, the scanner is sold with a separate tip for the scanning wand, that instead of having the little tines for combing through hair, is a flat bullet-shaped wand, and it's specifically there for scanning humans.
Okay.
It doesn't work well for scanning dogs, because in people and horses, the skin is really closely attached to the muscle, so it doesn't float. In dogs, the skin, you can pick up the skin and move it 6 or 8 inches in some dogs. So it's not really good at identifying a specific spot, because it can roll off the tissue underneath. But you can scan a camel, you can scan a steer, We can scan all kinds of critters.
Where the skin is sort of smooth, not hair everywhere.
Well, if even with hair everywhere, like during the winter, we scan very heavily coated horses, but we make sure that we A, brush them out really well beforehand so there's no tangles, and B,
Okay.
we use, there's two sets of tines. Some of them are finer than others, or one set is finer than the other, and works better in heavy hair so that it can go down and really make more contact with the skin through the hair.
Okay.
Um, and so we also, that's another reason for always scanning with the hair, with the way that the hair
Okay.
floats, so that even when you're in heavy coat, it's not a problem. I've,
Okay.
I've
Yeah.
scanned a curly basker, and nobody's had heavier hair than that on our ranch.
Mm. I found you because I've got problems with my own body.
Oh.
I've just found I just wished a few therapists I've been to had a scanner like you've got. Would have
Well,
saved me a few dollars.
yeah, that would be nice. I know that there are some chiropractors and probably some other um, practitioners here in the country that have the scanners, but most practitioners, they're only given what 5-10 minutes to evaluate someone. So if they had to
Yeah.
spend an hour, hour and a half just scanning, they're like, "Oh no, I'm not interested in doing that." Well,
Yeah.
so it's really, you've got to find somebody who's willing to take that time for assessment.
You'd have to sell it that way, wouldn't you, if you're a
You really would.
chiro?
You really would. Or and there's people buy them for themselves.
Yeah.
Now you can't
What
scan your
what are they what do they cost, Kay?
the system.
Approximately.
The scanner by itself is, Karen, was it 37.95? And
3,790
right,
3,795.
yes.
Right.
And then the system, which is the scanner, a light therapy unit that's got two sets of 50. Oh, let me here. I've got a picture of it here. I can show you.
Yeah.
Two sets of 50 diodes. These are the different light clusters that have infrared and visible red lights.
Yep.
Okay, so here's the scanner.
I've got an infrared torch. Yeah.
Okay, so you're familiar with that, right? So we
Yeah,
have
sort of.
the scanner with the wand. Okay, we have a light
Yep.
unit, and the difference between this and a red light therapy torch is that A, we use infrared and visible red. B, we've got 60 some lights per cluster head instead of the typical
Okay.
5. So we've
Okay.
got a much higher lumen level coming out. Okay, so faster treatment time. And
Yeah.
it also goes through 7 different, what are called Nogier frequencies. They're a pulsing of the light that have been found to have different reactions from the body. So it can do anything from activate tissue to sedate. So it can sedate pain.
Okay.
And then what you see up
Excellent.
here in the lid, that is what we call the happy hat or the pole therapy cap. This is what we
Oh,
put up.
you're showing video there, are you?
I am sorry you can't see it. I had a picture to show you, and I forgot you didn't have the picture. Didn't have. We're showing a webinar exactly, and the web.
Would you have that video on your site somewhere?
It'll go up on YouTube, and we'll send out. Did you sign up with an email for the calls tonight?
Uh, yeah, I did. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
then we'll be sending out an email that has a link to the replay, and you'll be able to see
Excellent.
that. You'll want to watch the full, unedited, so that you can come in and see these pictures here. All right.
Oh, excellent. Thank
Okay.
you. Yeah, very good. Hey, that's marvelous. You can. Wow. I mean, what's an hour? I mean, what's an hour in time to find out what's wrong with you?
Right.
I mean, how many people haven't got a clue what's wrong with you and just carry on with what their therapy is?
And we have to be very careful here in that we're not diagnosing. We're only identifying imbalances because most of
Right.
us are not veterinarians. Okay.
But that's a softer way of saying what the actual problem is.
Yes, a very soft way of
That's what we
saying,
want.
any time that you have a body that's out of balance, that's when you have disease. So if you can bring it back to balance with your torch, with acupuncture, with what we're doing here, the photopuncture, with
Gua sha.
massage, however you're bringing it back to balance, then the body heals itself. Exactly.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
all right.
Excellent. Thank you.
No, no
Thank you.
problem. Anybody else with questions before we go to MJ's report from this week?
What's
Okay.
your site, please, Kay? What's your site?
Oh, it's photopuncture.com.
Photopuncture.com. Oh, yes, thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
So, Kay, I'm confused. Does he want this for horses or for humans?
I'm not sure. Maybe both.
because I can tell you how I got sold on the system was actually using it on my husband. And I didn't need the scanner. He knew that he had severe back pain and has been suffering from it it's pretty chronic. And, he knows where the pain is. And I got this system, and Kay will tell you, I have a laser, so I was not sold on the light system. And I brought it home, and I said, well, we'll give it a shot. We'll just see how it goes. And my husband totally said, he's the one that said, you have to buy this. Because I put it on his back. I I messed with some of the frequencies and did, like Kay said, there's the 1 through 7. And he swears by it. And I have two friends that I work on. One's a triathlete, and she's got severe knee, well, not severe, but she's got knee pain. And she comes to me a couple times a month right before races to get that done. And I have another friend that just has chronic knee pain, and I worked on him for the first time last week, and he was totally amazed that he got up and he's like, I don't feel any pain. So
can I suggest something there?
Yes, sir.
Have you tried the adductor stretch on them?
I don't know what that is. Oh, the stretch.
The adductor stretch. Just go down on your knees, open your legs up wide, and lean forward.
Well, we've done everything. We do stretches. In fact, my husband's a true believer in the book, The Foundation, which is a Lance Armstrong, exercise / yoga. We've done, injections. We've done everything. We're trying to do anything we can to keep away from surgery. And yes, he stretches. He stretches all the time. And I have other clients too. Those are the two that came to mind. That people can tell you that the lights work, and I don't scan them just because I'm not really familiar with the human scanner, even though I have it. I should probably practice a little bit more, but people can tell you where it hurts. And so I say, okay, here we go. And we do the lights, and they're pain-free once we're done. So it works.
Right.
It's your pain's referred, of course, isn't it, sometimes?
Yep. Which is what we learn, of course, with in the classes. This is one of the reasons, the beauty of the scanner, is that you might have problems. I've got a dear friend who had terrible plantar fasciitis, and she had special shoes and shoe inserts, and was just. We showed dogs together, and she'd finish showing dogs, in the ring one time, and she'd have to sit down for 2 hours because her feet hurt so bad. And I finally talked her to letting me scan and treat her. Now, bear in mind, she was a smoker who lived on Diet Pepsi. So she was very toxic. But, no one she would not believe me that those would, and the doctor told her that I was full of patootie, that all of that the smoking and, the Pepsi and the other toxins had anything to do with the pain in her feet. So we got her down, I scanned her, and of course they do. We scanned her, and of course everything that came up was toxicity points. And lots of what came up was on her face and her chest. Nothing on her feet really came up at all. We treated her. It sent her into about 3 hours of diarrhea. She got up the next day, and her feet did not hurt her for 2 weeks.
Got rid of all the rubbish.
Yeah, she was absolutely shocked. Did she do anything about it? No, but you can't force people to change their lifestyle.
No.
But it was really fascinating, and the best thing it did is it showed her 16-year-old who was helping what this stuff was doing to mom. And the 16-year-old now lives a very healthy lifestyle. Not just because of that, I'm sure, but. Okay, so I'm going to switch over here, unless anybody has more questions on the scanning. I'm going to bring up MJ's scanning.
Kay,
oh, yes,
Kay,
go ahead.
Kay, who was the therapist I was just talking to, please?
Oh, her name is MJ Scruggs.
MJ?
Scruggs.
MJ who?
Scruggs.
Scruggs.
SCRUGGS. and she's up in the Denver
Richard, yeah.
area.
Denver. Okay. What's the first name?
MJ.
It's MJ, short for Mary Jane.
Mary Jane. Hey, thanks for that discussion, Mary Jane.
No problem. You can call me anytime.
Okay, so and you can find her through our Facebook
Scrub.
page as well. We're on Facebook/Photopuncture, and there's pictures of her and some of the horses that she's been treating lately.
Okay.
Okay,
Thanks.
so
That's it, is it?
no, well, we're going to go into a report. It's probably not going to make any sense to you because you're only on the phone. So if
Yep.
you want, you can follow the rest of it later.
Yeah, I'll try and get round that next week.
All right, great.
Hey?
So MJ sent me this report a few days ago, and we had a few problems with the software, but she scanned a horse named Jester. MJ, why don't you talk to us about what's going on with Jester?
Okay.
Well, Jester is a 9-year-old paint. He's a hunter jumper show horse, and so on the report I said I have been treating Jester for a couple of months. We started out with our 3-pack, and he was a referral from another client, and he's had in the past deep digital tendon flexor tendon surgery. He's had injections. He's had a lot of lameness issues that the mama is very, very protective over. He's had shockwave treatment, and he's had pretty much everything that's out there he's had done to him. He is going out pretty sound now. She called me in right before she started riding him. She rode him a couple of times, and he was kind of a little off. So I went and worked on him a couple of times, and she said he worked really well. And I didn't have all the knowledge that I have now to actually, you know, I kind of was going by the seat of my pants with just using the scanner and then treating the spots that came up, which were, I mean, everybody has just raved about the, you know, the results. But now that I have more of this information that we got in this last clinic, it's, you know, it's a lot more stuff that I could put in there. But he's got allergies. He's kind of a hard keeper, hard to keep weight on. What else? He's on all kinds of supplements. He's on Gastro Shield, Platinum Performance. He's on Benadryl. He's on a lot of stuff. The mama just throws stuff at him. Anytime he sneezes, she's gonna stuff something up down his gut. You know?
Just in case.
Yes, and so I'm trying to figure out what really is wrong with this horse. And I mean, he does have the surgery, and he does have some lameness issues, but I'm thinking he's got some other stuff. We can at least address the allergies. The last time I went, I did his kidney points, and he pretty much, bent his back in half when I hit the kidney points. And the session before that, both the barn owner and the owner said that his urine smelled really bad. It wasn't a urine smell. It was something other than, it wasn't like ammonia. It was really, like a gross smell that they've been trying to cover up with baking soda. So I'd like to start with that with this horse because, I mean, obviously he's had the surgery. He's got injections. There's not a whole lot I can do for that except to keep him from, compensating in other areas, keep him comfortable. And he's doing really well, but I'd like to really address the allergy issues and the quote, if he does really have ulcers issues.
Right.
And to get this horse, like, he could be a super nice show horse for her daughter, but he's got all these, and he's a nervous horse. He's always on the move. He's kind of a weaver. They have mirrors in his stall to keep him company with himself. So
okay.
Yeah, so that's Jester, but he was really good on this last session. Every other session we have a great session. One session he'll be like just moving all over the place, but I think that's more because the mom gets involved, and she's kind of really high energy, and I think she brings that to him.
Right.
But this session she wasn't there, and as soon as I started working his kidneys, he was like putty in my hands. He was just like, oh God, thank you. You know, so yeah, that's pretty much it. And there's the report.
Okay. Well.
Thank you, you two. I'll go.
Okay.
See you next week.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you.
So MJ, you asked me to go over this report. It looks really good. All right, you've done a good job of really tracking, giving some good information, especially the first time you work with a horse, knowing what he's on, pointing out that he's getting all these supplements, talking about the pre-treatment. This is a really involved, good job on the pre-treatment evaluation. Okay, and now if researching feed ingredients would be really, really good. Now, I personally have huge doubts that he's truly allergic to corn and oats. Could happen, I suppose. But what?
Well, did you get the allergy report?
I did, and I looked at that, and I didn't want to confuse stuff here too much. But just to back up, we know that you got major kidney responses. You could smell what may not have been infection, but may have been a big clearing of things when treating the kidneys. And the liver and kidneys, those are our primary way of getting toxins out of the body, right? And then, so when the liver and kidneys are overwhelmed, a lot of times what will happen is that everything that comes along the pike then that would normally just be a minor irritant becomes the straw that breaks the camel's back. And the immune system itself becomes hypersensitized. I'm a really good case in point for this. Back in the early 90s, I lived on Benadryl and a couple of prescription antihistamines. I was allergic to everything. If I picked up a cat, my eyes would swell shut. Okay, I had to have an inhaler for stuff like that. I stupidly pet a guinea pig and ended up in the emergency room with anaphylactic shock. Okay?
Wow. And
this was just not acceptable. My life is my animals. So not long after that, I ended up having to help first a very sick dog and then a very, very, very sick horse. And it started teaching me about what I needed. This is where I started learning about detox and learning how to take care of myself. And as we went through this process together, my old horse that I have now, in helping him to survive, and literally almost lost him 15 years ago, in helping him to survive, it changed my life. I ended up detoxing and cleansing my body and getting myself much more alkaline. I have cats around me all the time now. I can have a cat in my lap, I can pet it, I can do whatever. The only antihistamines that I have had in my body since 1995 was when I was stung by wasps. And I took them in order to be able to, we were about 12 miles from the trailer, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't have a problem riding back to the trailer.
Right.
So as this horse becomes less toxic, you may see a dramatic reduction in allergic response. Okay? Now, there are one of the things that corn and oats bring to the table is something called kernel bunt mold. All right? The aflatoxins that are so poisonous that end up in pet foods and so on. Those are from a mold that grows around the roots of the corn and the oats. All right? And that I shouldn't say the roots, around the seeds. Okay? And that mold builds up a toxic ingredient called an aflatoxin in the liver. Okay, so as we detox the liver and kidneys, we stop seeing so much reaction. And the corn and oats that gets put in most horse grain, okay, excuse me, is what is too moldy to put in human cereal.
Okay.
All right, so you may find, get him balanced, get him cleaned out, and in a while you might be able to go back to a really good whole corn, all right, that was tested chemical free, that was human grade. You might not need to, right? There's other ways to put weight on a horse like this. Something really very hypoallergenic, like the Cool Stance, the shredded coconut and coconut oil. Fats are certain. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know where to start with this lady, because she feels like everything he's on is keeping him sound, and that is her biggest concern is that he stays sound.
Right.
Unfortunately, that picture there is not the one I wanted. The muscular one was the one that had all the other points on it, because they were all stomach and liver points. I mean,
Right. I'm going to
all
come back.
that
I'm going to come down to your photos since we don't have the report pictures.
Yeah.
So obviously we have shoulder
So
going on here.
Yep.
Okay, that's shoulder.
But see that pink spot on his neck right there? That's where he had a reaction from the Ataquan shot, and that's been months ago, and that has not cleared up.
So I would slap clay on that. Okay.
Yeah.
I would be trying to draw that back out.
Okay.
Here we have what are obviously some liver and spleen, okay, issues. Yep. All right, so there's some toxicity stuff that we have going on.
Yep.
All right, we have pericardium, some more shoulder.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, because I was like, is that pericardium or is that something else?
That's pericardium.
So that's what I thought. So those are all the points that I put on my on the other side. You can tell me how to do that.
And we're back. We're back to more liver gallbladder issues on this side. Right?
And look at those stress marks. I mean, you can't.
Yeah. He's been living with pain that causes stress.
Yeah.
I spent a year with tendonitis in my wrists, and it was so emotionally overwhelming, because I was like, there are people out there who have no legs. I don't want to feel sorry for myself because my wrist hurts, right?
Right.
But I couldn't lift a pot off the stove.
Yeah.
It was just, this is where it went back to being too acidic and all of those things. It's that same period of time as I got healthy and that went away, and the arthritis went away, the tendonitis went away, and all of that, that stress level went away. I don't really get stressed anymore. But this is a real sign. I want to document this picture because it's a great picture of a stress line.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's and he had them on both sides.
You bet.
And they were all. Yeah.
And paints are not high stress horses. Paints are kind of a cooler, whatever kind of horse. So that's.
Yeah, he's a very, very nervous horse. They've gone through. They've had, because right now he's boarded with another horse at a private residence, but they brought in another horse to keep him company when the neighbor horse leaves, because he goes crazy. So they're like, they got to get it. Then now they're thinking maybe we should get a mule to keep him company. When he would go to shows, they would have to have a little goat in the stall with him, and he was so attached to that goat. And so the lady came up with these mirrors that she puts in the stall so he can see himself, and he thinks another horse is in there to calm him down. Now, again, when she's there with him, he's much more nervous than when it's just me and him. And even the owner of the barn was like, yeah, she brings on that extra energy.
Right.
She's always messing with him. But the thing is, I was like, I don't know where to start with this horse, because everything he's on, she doesn't want to change it because he's sound and he's
right.
Going well.
And I get that. And all we can do at that point is start showing results. And slowly work, quote, opinions into it, right, and suggestions. The fact, obviously, you've done some rib clearing here. These are all rib lines, and rib and shoulders. He should be much more comfortable, and I would guess that she's going to see some results. Here we have more toxicity stuff going on, and that's going to clear. Nothing that I see.
Yeah, everything cleared. It was really good. Everything cleared, so I was happy with that. But
much as I would love to not see these last three things here, I think if you keep working liver and kidney, if you can get one suggestion in over and above the photopuncture treatments, it would be to detox, right? Let's keep.
And so how do I do that? I mean, I guess that's my biggest question. Is how do I get her to detox? Where do I start? What do I recommend
just
to her?
Talk about, show her the stress lines on it, right? Show her how to check the kidney point, okay? And say this is really an indication that his liver and kidneys is toxic. He's very toxic.
Okay.
And if this little light pressure here means he's falling out from underneath me, that means when you're on his back, it's gonna hurt. So let's try cleansing him. And you can do it as simply. I personally would put him on Vivo Zeo Complete, the EQ,
Okay.
because it's one thing, right?
Okay.
And I know that that's going to pull all of those meds out of the liver. It's got enough. It's got enough herbal immune enhancers and anti-inflammatories to help with the clearing the liver, ramping the immune system, and settling the gut. Okay, if he does have ulcers, it's the perfect way to start on them. And just explain, it takes 90 to 120 days to turn the blood over. So I'd like to do 120 days of this process.
Okay.
And nothing else, just that and continued going in and working on it, right?
And so in the isoxaprine, I'm not sure what that is, but I thought they said it was a blood thinner because of the surgery. They wanted to increase the circulation down to his feet because of that tendon surgery, and I thought that's what she was saying they might take him off of that.
Yeah, I mean, how long ago was the surgery?
Oh, it's been over a year ago, and he's still on that.
I mean, it's a vasodilator, and you can also explain that one of the things that light does is it releases nitric oxide, which is a vasodilator. If she wants to help him with circulation and increasing circulation, better to use, lights. She could use
natural,
either with your treatments, or if you could get her some tendon savers.
Right.
All right, which would be a much better way to treat those tendons where he's had the surgery before and after riding, so he'd be much less likely to tear.
That's true.
Okay.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And you can point her toward the webinar that talks about the release of nitric oxide.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and see. All you can do is just give a little education and support her. Say what a great idea to let go of the isoxaprine, because even if you can just get one thing out at a time, right?
Yeah, yeah. What's Prevocox?
Let's see. That's a big question. Let me come over here.
This poor horse is on everything, and she just doesn't even know what she just throws it. Anytime someone says something to her, she's gonna throw it at that horse.
Because right, and that's
she wants him to be sound. She wants him for her daughter to be able to show, because they bought this horse for a really high price.
Oh, right.
And then the daughter showed it for a little while. Then he went lame, and so now
Prevocox is an NSAID. It's basically a different form of a bute. It's for arthritis.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, NSAID's very hard on the liver.
Right.
Right. And it's not a bad, if it's for a short-term thing, okay, but long-term, it just, you might say to her, you know how they say don't take a leave or
because it kills your kidney, it kills your liver.
Right. Either you want to take long-term Advil or a leave, because those NSAIDs are really, really hard on the body.
Right.
That's the same thing. This is an NSAID. Okay.
Okay, so you think the GastroShield is just because she thinks he has got ulcers?
I don't know. You'd have to ask her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But looking at those stress lines,
I'd
be certainly checking the webbing of the dewlap and seeing how he responds.
Oh, darn it! I forgot about that. Dang it.
That's all right. Next time. Okay.
Yeah.
But take it slow.
Next time for sure.
Keep the conversation open. It's trying to get back to work on him on a regular basis, and think also. Here's one of the clues. You've got a lot of liver and gallbladder points coming up. Those control tendon integrity.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So, that all feeds right back on what you're seeing.
Yeah. All right. Well, if I turn the horse skeleton to the muscular side and say update, then will it add it?
It should. Okay, since this was done before the update of the software, I don't know, but I think it would. Just go in.
And so
there's also right now I would use Chrome instead of Firefox. And I know that's a change for us, but when we were testing something out today, Chrome's. You're not in either one. You're in Safari.
I'm on a Mac.
Go in, bring up each side, okay, of the horse for both the muscular and the skeletal. and then check the report and see if they're all there.
All right.
Okay?
So, and for so to save it, remember I said I couldn't find to save it to the software, so I have my list.
There's now a
figure that one
button
out?
that says save.
Okay.
It had disappeared. The update button was
Oh.
supposed to be save before it was ever
Yeah.
saved, and update
Oh.
once it was saved. And the save,
Okay.
the before, went away. Now it's back. We got that fixed.
So is that report's probably not saved to that software then? I have to go back in.
It
And,
might be. You did an update. An update should have
Yeah.
saved it. It saved it for me the other day.
into the software, so I can go back and update
Correct.
it, like add and subtract
Right.
and all that. Okay.
And it would be under, I think the report would be called Jester. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I love the software. It's so awesome because it's so professional, and the clients love to see all that. And I have 2 clients waiting for my report. So
Okay, good.
I'm gonna get there. Believe me. Okay. So there's one other thing I was gonna ask you about. All right, I'll think of it later. But let's pick a day that you could talk to me about doing the Facebook thing, because you had said today when I
Okay, I'll give you a call. I'll give you a call when we get off, and we'll talk about that.
Well, not tonight because I gotta go make dinner for
Okay.
the kids and stuff. So
We'll talk tomorrow.
We'll talk tomorrow.
Okay.
That'd be good.
And anybody else
Okay,
with did anybody else have any questions, Karen or anybody on this report or anything else from tonight?
Is anybody still
Oh.
on?
It was written in the message.
Yeah,
thing.
Karen asked, what happens if you try the horse scanner on a human?
Oh.
You know, it tickles like crazy. And I just find that you get better coverage because you're not going through the hair. But you can certainly use the horse comb instead of the bullet end, and it'll work just fine. It's just like, feels just like having a comb that you comb your hair with, scanned over your body, but it'll still pick up the imbalances and do a great job. Okay, guys, we will talk soon, and thanks for showing up. We'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Kay. Bye-bye.